like a ray of sunshine in my day. Coach Greg Gattuso joins us and proceeds to tell me how bad he thinks the Raiders' idea is.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me and throwing something. As usual, I didn't know anything about the NFL happenings today, but
I know you're so focused on your job. What's wrong with you?
I'm sorry.
All right, Coach. Let's start with the Great Danes football program. You made some changes in the coaching ranks.
Yeah, we did. When you hire coaches, you try to hire quality people and great coaches, and if you keep them for 1 year, 2 years, or 8 years, it's all about having the highest quality coach. So Aaron Smith had an opportunity to go to Connecticut, and he's a great coach, and he was an alumnus of there and knows Randy Etzel, and Coach Etzel called me and asked me, and I'd already talked to him about Aaron over the years. So he, when I came here, so he snatched him up, and that's a good thing. Connor Hughes had an opportunity to go to Army and have an opportunity to do something he's never done, work with a FBS program. So it was a great step for him, and so we're excited for them. We lost one of our coaches to the Great Northwest. Jay Foster was a good friend, but his wife took a job in the smallest town in Washington State, if there is such a thing, in the middle. It's literally in the smack dab in the middle of nowhere. If you look up nowhere in a dictionary, it's right there.
It's him waving to you.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm over here.
But he had to go. I'm big on coaches and families trying to be together, and so we did. We had a few changes, nothing that's going to disrupt us. We hired really a Syracuse football legend, Bill Hurley, that was a great player back in my day. Actually, way before me. He's going to be our wide receiver coach. He was coaching at Robert Morris, had coached for me at Duquesne. I was a kid in the stands in 1976 when he almost single-handedly beat the #1 University of Pittsburgh at Pitt Stadium. So I've known him for a long time, and so we're glad to have him. And we hired a guy named Matt Barber is going to be our weight coach. He came to us from the University of Arizona. Was at Maryland when I was there. He's a real quality guy.
You want people to teach weight? I'll help out. I know.
Yeah, we're working on changing that kind of weight to the upper body strength, so, I've noticed that you've done a good job with yours. So. But yeah, we've added 2 new people, and Keith Dazinski's increased his role, and as a good friend of mine, he was the D coordinator at Maryland and came to us from there, and he's really been a great asset to our program. So, there's been a few changes, and we brought Will Fiocchi back. I think is awesome as an offensive assistant, one of those young coaches, and Billy Nessel are the 2 young guys we hired. So we feel good about those guys.
Let's talk about Will Fiocchi for a second. Former quarterback there. Fiocchi's 2 years younger than me. Now, next time you talk to Coach Fiocchi, tell him about the Salve Bearcats, okay, and the battles he used to have against them. But here's the thing about Will Fiocchi, in all seriousness. His father is a high school football coach. So what does that mean when you have already the background of, I don't have to worry about Fiocchi because he's grown up with this his entire life.
Yeah, when you look at how far we've come in just the last few years, our first year we had to hire some young guys that didn't have a lot of experience. We had a lot of problems with our assistants, the defense and offense assistants, and the young people in the program, and now we're hiring guys like Will Fiocchi and Billy Nessel. Billy Nessel was coaching a position at Holy Cross. He wanted to come here and coach, so we hired Billy to work on our defensive side, and Will Fiocchi. I mean, we hired Will, and the next day he was already running around doing everything. So he's a great kid. He comes from a coaching background, and you just kids that grow up. We have a few. I recruit I have a few players on my team whose fathers are coaches. I'm a big fan of that because they just get it.
Right?
They get it.
They live the lifestyle.
They lived it. They get it. Will's like that. His dad was a really good coach, and Will's easy. He just does everything right. So we're just excited about the changes and getting ready, and we'll be keeping our. We're increasing our offense, trying to throw the ball more in practice so far. So all good things.
If you had 316 for Goz to mention Salve or Hobart, 316 was Salve, the first Salve.
Hey, wait a second. That was the spread?
Salve.
Oh, man. I covered he dunked against us, by the way. Opening tip-off in high school. Ball gets tipped off. Fiocchi crams on us.
Fiocchi could dunk?
Good. He was a younger. I don't know if Fiocchi now can dunk.
He looks good. I was actually walking with that. I go, did you get taller? And he said, no, Coach, I've always been tall. So,
all right. So what do we know about this team so far? I mean, you're coming off of, a year where, quite honestly, you probably should have been, playoff bound, tournament bound, but instead they pass you guys over for teams, some of them that you beat.
Yeah.
What are we looking at? Who are we looking at right now?
I like our team. I think more important than individuals right now is just. I love our culture. There's a lot of energy at practice, which is the hardest thing to get. I think our kids are enjoying themselves. They're the coaches, everyone knows what we want to do after being here now for 3 years. And so we're in a good place. We've got good players, and we're a little young. You're always going to be young with 63 scholarships and so on. There's no way around that. So it's nothing to concern about. But the O-line and the linebackers were senior driven last year, and they're not going to be this year. But I think that the quarterbacks are getting better. I'm excited about where we're at with them. I think that going into the third year of a quarterback is where you should start getting maximum output. And I think, Brunson's going to be a redshirt sophomore, and Sussman's going to be a junior. And I think those guys are ready to run the show. And we're not as experienced up front on offense, but we're more talented. We're more athletic. We're taller. We're longer. So, work in progress, but I'm excited. I like our team. I think they like to play football, and I think they're ready to go into this league and compete. And honestly, that's more important to me than sometimes an individual talent.
Besides staying healthy, what is the goal for spring ball for this program?
I think we've got to learn to be able to throw the ball well enough that we don't have to live off our running back too much. And I think, with EB on the shelf right now, recovering from his injury, I think that we're developing a second running back. I think, KJ's doing a good job, and I think the biggest thing is developing the receiving core and the tight ends. We're really got some talent at those positions, and I think it's good for our quarterbacks. I mean, they got to carry the load right now. So, we're in day 3 and we're already changing plays and moving around and doing. We're just out there where we need to be a good offense, and I like where we're at. And I think defensively, guys, we're going to be pretty good. We're pretty big up front. We're more athletic. I think our back end is good. We've got some guys at linebacker that can really run and play. So it's tough on the offense right now because our defense is pretty decent. But we'll always miss the Castro, but we've got a bunch of guys stepping in that are doing a good job. So I like where we're at right now, and I think in special teams, we got a really good kicker coming back, and we got to replace. I think one of the best punters probably in the program's history, and Johnny Martin. That's not going to be an easy task, but we'll get there.
UAlbany head football coach Greg Gattuso with us right now. Levack and Goz 104.5. The team you brought up, EB. How is EB Token Hanks coming back? I mean, he was just another level at running back last year.
Yeah, he had a special year. I mean, people. I don't know sometimes if people get it with him. I mean, he had 1,400 yards rushing in this league is pretty spectacular, and that's with missing a game. And I think he's way ahead of schedule. If you spend any time with EB, he's a dedicated, focused team leader. I'm excited. If anybody, I think he's going to be back, and I think that we'll be stronger for it because, like I said, KJ Rogers is getting all the carries in spring right now, and he'll be a better player when we get out. So hopefully give EB a little more rest next year, and we're going to throw the ball, I think, way more effectively than last year. And I like where we're sitting right now.
Coach, I'm not going to do my job unless I ask you this question about the Elon game. There's been talk about whether or not that's going to be moved. Do we know the status of that game?
Yeah, I'd stay out of it right now because it's above my pay grade. And I've learned a long time ago is I don't really worry about things I can't control. So, whatever happens. I'm coaching our football team and hoping for the best, and we'll handle it either way.
Greg Gattuso. So, Coach, what do we know of the schedule this year? It's not out yet, is it?
Yeah, I think everything's. Yeah, we opened with Old Dominion down there. It was fun. I was sitting at a establishment and I was watching their bowl game. They were playing Eastern Michigan in a bowl game, and so that didn't help me digest much. But it was they're pretty good, but we're excited about it. Yeah, they're a good football team, and I think it's a big game for our AD, Mark Benson. He comes from Old Dominion. He was part of building all that stuff down there, and so it's a great game for us, and we're excited about getting down there and playing. But it's going to be a big challenge, but we're ready for it. We're getting better every year.
This looks easy. I mean, I don't see any Buffalo. I mean, Old Dominion, they played a directional school. Villanova. They're not. I mean, they couldn't even win their bracket. Come on.
Not like they've ever had NFL players, right?
No.
Brian Westbrook, Howie Long.
We were talking today about, sometimes it's hard in recruiting because coaches don't. The biggest issue we face right now is people understand the level of play we're playing at.
Right.
Everybody. I don't think everyone gets in our league. There's going to be a bunch of kids playing the NFL next year from the CAA. It's a top to bottom. We had the national championship. I mean, think about that. The national championship came from our conference. And there's great players. There's a second round pick. He's probably going to be a second round pick out of Villanova. They have a line now. They have 2 kids on their defense that are going to probably get drafted this year. That's pretty good.
Get as many of them out as we can, right? Before.
Yeah,
right.
As long as they're not there for September 23rd.
Yeah, we don't want them here anymore. But we're growing into that, and I think we're there. I think we showed. We're about a 500 team, and we're 17-17 in the 3 years of this process. Which if you'd have told me that when I took over, I'd have took it and ran. There's a couple in there we would have loved to got back, but there's a couple in there we probably shouldn't have won, and we were able to fight our way through. So 500 looks average, but it's not. I think we're way ahead of where we thought we'd be at this point, and we're competing and we're competitive, and I think our opponents we have everyone's attention. Now it's a matter of taking the next step.
Not only do you guys have talent, but you had 42 players earn all academic, all conference. Is that also something you recruit? Let's get some smart guys in here to run these offenses. Well,
it's part of our recruiting thing is, you're always going to have a few knuckleheads on your team. There's no way around it. But one of our big things is we want kids from good families. We want kids that were captains in high school. We want kids that take academics seriously. And to get into Albany is not easy. It's a tough school to get entrance into. So, 42 kids in the CAA. We were second. I think that says a lot, and I'm proud of the kids. And we're really close to getting to a 3.0 GPA, which is unheard of in college football. We're really trying. We've been mid 2.8s, 2.86, 2.87. So we're fighting to get there. And the kids, it's part of our concept of just trying to do things the right way and a great culture. And our kids are working hard at it. And if they keep believing in it, we're going to be a pretty good football team next year.
Who's the guy who does that? Like, who's the one who goes, hey, Billy, you got a 2.5 here. You're pulling us down. Let's go. What can we do to help you?
Well, Lori Friel is our academic coordinator, and she does a great job, and she has some help there. But each coach is responsible for their position, so they work with their guys. If kids, I got a few guys that are going to be a little uncomfortable after practice tomorrow because they have missing class, and we don't tolerate class misses. One of my new coaches today asked me what's the tolerable number of class misses, and I said 0, and that's what our expectation is. And and so if a kid, we want them to go to class. I mean, I've been doing this a long time in college. Honestly, I've never met a kid that didn't pass college if he went to class. I've just never met them. Now, maybe in a major it's too hard, and you got to put them in something else. That sometimes kids, overreach.
Yeah, need a little guidance.
Yeah, like I was never going to be an engineer. Or maybe a trained engineer, but never an actual engineer. So I think that happens. But honestly, kids that go to class and they'll work with Lori, they're going to pass. They're going to get their degrees, and that's ultimately what we're trying to get our kids to do. And if they're missing class, that's a big deal to me, and they hear about it and they feel it sometimes.